Hello everybody. In the center of the frame there is the timing pin for this 93 Dodge Cummins. See it right in the middle of the frame. And it's in the big round hole, so it's in there. But I can tell you a story that it was not there. Right after I did the head gasket, it took me a week to figure it out. I know, I'm a little slow. But the pin popped out. And I think the reason it popped out is because I didn't tap it in with a small hammer, and it blew out. So when I put this one in the other day, I had to tap it in with a hammer about 4 or 5 times, a light dead blow hammer, and it went all the way in. Then I couldn't get it out by hand, and I didn't do that with the other one, so I suspect it blew out. And with it, let's see if I can show you. And with it, that's a drop of oil hanging from the front anti-sway bar. As you can tell in the shininess of the light, it's soaking wet. And so are the control arms. In fact, the brakes got a little oil on them because I had put the brakes on and the whole truck had pulled to the right. So there's the oil pan. You can see a drop hanging off of it, a drop hanging off the K-member. This whole thing is coated with oil. You can see on the tire it used to be, it had some pretty good splatter marks on it. And this tire here, you can tell, yeah, same thing. All the way up to the upper control arm. In fact, the whole engine is covered with oil. And if you look even more carefully, you'll see the tranny pan, the transmission crossover, the exhaust, the muffler, the fuel tank, the frame rails on both sides, the rear end, and even the class 3, class 5, whatever it is, trailer hitch in the back. It's all completely coated with oil. My best guess at this point is that I lost 6 quarts out of 12. Now I've put 6 in it and it's still not to the fill mark as opposed to the full mark. So I think it needs 2 more quarts for sure. Now I know the driveway is a little sloped, but I've had this thing on level ground and it was about the same location on the dipstick, but it's soaked. So I figured out what it was, and I figured out I was low on oil because I pulled out of a light in town, a stoplight, and my oil light went on. I let off the throttle, oil light went out, and I was like, oh, this isn't good. Pulled into a dollar store of some sort, got 2 quarts of 1040 because that's all they had, put it in, that kept the light off, and then I drove down to Walmart to get the T4 Rotella oil that comes in the gallon containers, and that makes it about $3 a quart. And I dumped almost all of that in, and it got me home. So we just have a disaster. Now, the engine never made a sound. I've heard this engine a long time ago, 10 years ago when I got it, and I rebuilt the pump, the VE pump, that it would ping. I know it's hard to believe that over all the noise it makes, but it was clearly pinging. So I had to rebuild the pump again, and then after that it never did it again. It was working perfectly for the last 10 years. Even those bolts hanging on the frame, let's see if I can. Yeah, right there. Oil hanging off of them. So what I did was I pulled out the pressure washer. It has been in storage for 5 years and change. I used it to wash down the garage and the house before I painted them years ago. And I got it started a week ago. And so today, with some, what's this stuff called? Purple. Oh man. You see that container sitting over there? Industrial purple cleaner and whatever, degreaser. On the label, the first thing it says is for cleaning engines. I didn't know that. That was what we used in diluted form to clean the interior walls and ceiling and floors of the house when the underside of it caught fire back in 2017. So I poured some in, and I'm ready to start this thing up, and we'll see how it functions. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I do have some spray degreaser, and I don't know how much of it I have, but I'm going to lay it on pretty heavy up here because these valve cover gaskets leaked for the 10 years that I own this thing until I put new ones in when I did the head gasket. So I'm going to take this thing and do the engine first, the block, and then start spraying it from the top down, and when I get underneath I'll show you some more footage. It's not going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be super noisy, but the whole side of the block, everything around here is just coated, just totally coated with oil. So it's time to fix it. It's a nice day, it's 60 degrees, the wind's not blowing, and I think it's time. So I'll be right back. Alright, here we are after hosing this thing off with a pressure washer. There's some good, you know, a lot of it got cleaned off, grimy, especially up around the valve covers. You can see I put the Cummins cover back on. And a couple things that you get to notice, sorry about the wind. Can you see the fluid seeping out around the lid? I'll have to look and see if the gasket's broken, but you can't see that when the whole thing's coated. So now that it's clean, that's brand new, fresh leakage. So that needs to be investigated as a leak source. A couple places on the vacuum pump I didn't get apparently. God, I don't know if you guys can see it. Way down there around the timing cover and the dampener, there's a ton of buildup, just loads of buildup. I didn't even spray down there, I didn't even think about it. So yeah, you know, details, how much do you want to do? And this was a lot. I had to spray the whole undercarriage of this damn thing. One place that stayed consistently clean after I did the head gasket is it was leaking from the drain back on the turbo. It was leaking from right here. So I took some gasket material, made a new gasket, and scraped the surfaces clean. It had to be sterile clean, and it quit leaking. And the place it would leak, as you can see, is on the on that floor mat thing. Now it's just leaks from other things, like pulling the dipstick out from the transmission. It's dripping all over the place. But it's kind of a dried up leak. So we're good here. We're good on this side. So I can go on for all day how much better it is than when I started, but sometimes it's good to just go over stuff, because you might find something you didn't like, or that you won't like. It's quite a bit cleaner down here. It's not been cleaned in 10 years. There's still some on the tie rod ends and all that stuff. There's still a pretty sizable buildup. K-member's a lot cleaner. The bottom of the fuel tank isn't clean, but the sides are, and the sides of the frame rails and bottoms are, but there's just places that aren't clean yet, and I'm not really terribly worried about it. It's the one thing that this will do in the short term is it'll show me where any new leaks are that you can't see because everything's always coated in oil. So I'll keep an eye on it, see if the trans leaks much, see if the engine pan, oil pan leaks much, that sort of stuff. It's good to kind of keep an eye on it, because when it's dry like this, the oil shows up a lot better. So there it is. It's about as clean as I'm gonna get it. You could spend more time on it, that's for sure. I'm not. I did what I needed to do, and I feel okay about it. And I, you know, I don't know if I mentioned this. I put a grand total of 9 quarts of oil back in this thing. It holds 12, and it lost 9, so I had to put back 9. And it's filled right to the middle between the fill and the full mark. Man, 9 quarts of oil, that's a lot of damn money. Anyway, it's fixed for now. The engine seems to be running fine and makes no noise. I hope it just has a nice long life still ahead of it. So, yeah, and I see some fluid on the transmission line there, on the hard line, so that's probably another place for leaks. Alright, well, that's it for now. Just wanted to show you how it turned out. Pretty clean, I think. Not perfect, but, you know, I'm not into perfect. Perfect takes too much time and energy. Alright, see you guys. Bye.